Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Welcome to the show, where we interview the nation's leading real estate entrepreneurs. It's your host, Stephen Schmidt, and I am back again. If you're joining us for the first time or for the second, third, or 100th time, welcome here. I'm here today with Eli Mongold, and today we're going to be talking about how to win and succeed in real estate investing with the BRRRR method, cash as collateral, and then some interesting things that he's got going on within the commercial multifamily space, as well as what are some pitfalls people think about when they get the Midas touch. Think they killed it in one method and are going to hop to something a whole lot bigger in a different field. So just remember, at Investor Fuel, we help real estate investors, service providers, and real estate entrepreneurs 2 to 5x their businesses to allow them to build the businesses they've always wanted, to allow them to live the lives they've always dreamed of. That being said, Eli Mongold, welcome to the show, brother.
Hey there, Stephen. Happy to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Super excited for our conversation today. But before we get into today's topic and before we get started on that, can you just share a little bit about yourself and how you got here for our listeners?
Yeah, of course. Absolutely. I mean, I had started my career in real estate investing at 19 years old. I bought my first flip at a tax auction that I was lucky enough that they forgot to put it in the paper. So that's how I got it. I showed up. I had $5,000 in my pocket, was able to grab it from there, and then just kind of started and soared. Went to school and trained in real estate finance. Quickly became a quantitative analyst for a small investment trust based out of Cleveland. Moved over into more of the real estate brokering side and traveled all the way here to the investment mortgage brokering business.
That's awesome, man. Now, so give us a little bit of a background on like your investing experience specifically. I mean, you started at 19. Were you investing yourself personally, like while you were doing all of these other things in tandem, or what did that look like?
Yeah, correct. I to this day still invest. I mean, just last year I did 17 flips and bought 5 more rentals, and I've significantly scaled it up since then, as of last year. And no, I mean, as I've done everything I've done, I've always tried to buy at least 3 to 5 properties a year via the BRRRR method. If people aren't familiar with what that is, buy, rehab, rent, refinance, buy it cheap, fix her up, place a tenant, get another loan, get your money back, move on to the next one.
Right. Way to get the property, find a distressed property, get that property, rehab it, take your cash out of it while also then still having a cash flowing asset. Anything I said incorrectly there? You seem like you're more of the expert in this space than I am.
Yeah, no, that's the blueprint.
Okay, awesome. So now what got you started in and really excited about using BRRRR as your niche within investing?
I think it was the fastest way to make yourself feel like a real investor, because you are, if you do it properly, are able to effectively recycle the same capital over and over and over again. The money that I used to buy my first one came from a tax refund, and I've just been able to kind of grow it and scale it from there.
Yeah, that makes sense. And so what attracted you to doing that and taking on some of that risk versus something like wholesaling, for example? Like, why would somebody want to get into that?
Well, when I had gotten started, I was 19, 11 years ago. Wholesaling wasn't necessarily as popular then as it is now.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And I had always had the thought, and it's the specific thing that drove me there is not really built in math or anything like that because I wasn't as educated then, was when I sat down and I thought about who's the rich guy. Like if you sit down at a dinner with someone and they tell you what avenue of real estate investing they take, who's the guy in your brain is rich, it's always the guy with the boatload of rentals.
Yeah, the guy that buys and holds in some capacity, right? And then it's just a matter of what strategy are you going to use. So with BRRRR, I mean, you were doing that before it was popular, no?
Yeah,
like in terms of doing the method before the method was a method.
Yeah, correct. I think BRRRR kind of got its name during like the COVID era, TikTok, like mass explosion of real estate investment. Real estate investment is a popular form. But yeah, no. Prior to that, I had heard about it in some circles from a lot of people. I come from a real estate background. My grandfather was a home builder. My grandmother was a realtor, and 1980s real estate relationship right there. And so they were kind of able to guide me into a lot of what he was able to do because he did all of his own work, and so he kind of specialized in it even then before he knew what it was.
So is that where you got it from then? Was from that background?
I would say so, yeah. Because he, I had never had a mortgage before. My parents are career renters. They didn't own their primary home. And so I wasn't really familiar with the process as it sat. But he had explained, like, hey, you close on it in cash, you get the work done. Once it's all said and done, you can go back. If I recall correctly, he was explaining to me the concept of a refinance. Didn't even know you can get a mortgage outside of just a purchase at the ripe age of 19. And just kind of walked me through that entire thing and decided once I got my taxes that ain't nothing to it but to do it and went and grabbed one.
You bet. That's awesome, man. So now tell me a little bit more about what you've got going on with like cash as collateral, and then let's get into the commercial multifamily space, what you see going on there.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. The cash as collateral program is a unique BRRRR method product that my funders have access to where it removes the seasoning requirements for the cash out refinance of the DSCR, which depending on the lending institution is 3 to 6 months. And then it also increases the loan to value on the cash out refinance from 75% to 80%. And so a lot of people, when they're looking at these BRRRR method deals, they can be really tight, real thin margin, like you only maybe have like 10, 15% cash out coming back to you. It barely covers your expenses, and that kind of throws the whole allure of the BRRRR method out in the first place. If you, instead of paying your down payment in a difference of the loan amount. So like the bank's only giving you this amount, you have to bring this much to cover the rest of it to give the money to the seller. Instead, you give the money to this funder in the form of just the down payment, not the closing costs, in the form of cash as a wire to them at the closing table so they can turn around and redeploy the capital immediately. Then they fund the 100% of your transaction, the purchase and the rehab. And once you finish up the renovations, you get your tenant in there, you get your first month's rent and your security deposit. $20,000 job in Northeast Ohio, that'll take you a month and a half. We could immediately put that capital back in your pocket.
Wow. Were you born smart, or did you just learn all this?
I would like to say a mixture of both, but honestly, a lot of this was learned through, making a lot of mistakes that cost money and cost time and heartache and everything like that. So,
for sure. Yeah, I'm just listening to you talk, and I'm like, dang, man, like there's so many layers. I don't know which one to peel back first. If you had to like kind of simplify things for somebody, let's say that is not going to be as analytical. You come off as the type that you're going to read every single little piece of everything, right? Yeah. Not everybody's like that. So if you had to simplify it, what do you think is the most important thing for somebody to know about what you just said?
I would say that it makes it so that way you can scale up your rental portfolio with the BRRRR method faster.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Generally, people are on that 6-month cycle waiting on the refinance. With us, we can do it as quick as you're ready for us to do it, and we can give you more money back on the cash out.
That's huge. That's huge. And what are some of the mistakes that you see people like currently making that like aren't doing this, for example?
I would say the biggest mistakes a lot of people are making is in their initial underwriting of the deal. I see a lot of people bring to me their numbers and I assist them in reviewing it before I submit the file to make sure it's a good deal for them. A lot of people, they're not incorporating their interest payments into their total cost basis. They're not incorporating, the potential of the contracting going up. You never know what you're getting into until you start taking walls down. So you better add at least 15% as a miscellaneous buffer to whatever the contractor gave you as their bid. Because on some of these BRRRR method deals, your margins are tight. You could be at a 15, 20, hopefully 25% return on your investment, and then you still get the asset. But you can eat that up pretty quickly in some of these lower dollar, like $125,000 homes.
That's interesting. Tell me more about that.
So, if you have somebody who, they find a deal, hey, I'm going to put $50,000 into it. I'm buying it for $50,000 and it's worth $120,000. Well, it's worth $150,000. When I turn around and refinance that at 75%, my loan amount's $125. My total cost basis is $100. I just netted $20,000 and I get to keep the property for free. But then, oh man, my furnace went out. Oh no, we actually started looking more into the electrical. We got to do not just the panel box, but we have to do the service line and the meter too. And my interest is at 10%. I didn't even think to calculate those payments as they're coming in. And that $20,000 net that they thought will quickly become $7,000. Well, and then they're agitated because they're leaving money in the deal that they didn't want to.
And for most people, their cycle is so long that $7,000 for 6 months worth of headache and work
Correct.
And whatever else is not worth that juice ain't worth the squeeze.
No, especially if you're bringing $5,000 to the table to close on the loan, for example, like you're getting what, $2,000 back to turn around and cycle into the next thing. So
right.
Yeah.
So why do you see people missing that a lot? Is it just not having accurate numbers? How do you see them miscalculating to where then they end up in an oh shoot moment like that?
I would say it was that, Steve. They don't have the accurate numbers that they're looking at, and a lot of the times people don't even know to consider that in the first place. I get with a lot of people who they're like, oh, I watched this on YouTube, I read this on Bigger Pockets, I downloaded this calculator that I found on Instagram. Now I have an expert. I think it would be smart to either, if you have access to a coaching program, or us here at NEO, we pride ourselves in assisting people on underwriting their deals to the fullest extent with a private equity professional's mind. I think that can really help them save a lot of heartache in the future, because I love real estate investing, and I think people just making simple mistakes like not knowing, it's not even really a mistake if you really think about it. It's just they don't know that what they don't know.
Yeah.
And then they get turned off by it because it's not like this promised land that they expected when they first read it on the subreddit.
Right. Because yeah, exactly. Quite literally, right? So that's hilarious. So because one of the things that we talk about a lot, and like even with Investor Fuel, is the hardest thing for us to get anybody to do is go from 0 to 1, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think like what you're talking about is in a way like somebody that's new listening to you talk is going to think to themselves, I could never learn every single little piece of all of these things to avoid a mistake that's going to cause me pain, heartache, etc. And that as humans, like we run towards pleasure, run away from pain, right?
Of course.
So it's hard to get people to go from 0 to 1, one in that sense. So
if you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
like, how do you even, let's say somebody's wanting to get into it, but like, for example, they're going to take your advice and like join a coaching program. How do you even select the right coaching program to know that the tools that are being provided are going to actually work?
I would say it's like getting a second opinion when you get a diagnosis from the doctor, right? When you get into real estate investing, like you said, it's people get really caught in analysis paralysis. There's a lot of big numbers that get thrown around, and they can get nervous that it's just all going to go kaput. But I would say, checking on reviews, checking references. A lot of these people they're doing their own personal research on bigger pockets. Like, really make sure you vet who it is you're going to be utilizing as a coach. And never stop learning, right? Like, just because you hired, Jim Jones, a hypothetical name for an example, as a coach, like, don't just take what he says for granted. Go to the networking events, hop on the Zooms, listen to podcasts like these, and really try to grasp as much as possible. And eventually you'll find that secret sauce that works for you.
Yeah, absolutely. How important do you think being in the right rooms is it to somebody's success in learning how to do these deals and getting them done?
It is the most important. I attribute maybe 1% of what I know how to do to what I learned in a classroom. The rest of it truly is just bumping elbows and, making friends. Truly. It's one of my biggest advisors when I was kind of learning to scale my business here. I met him by cold calling him on accident. I was making a cold call for a property that I wanted to buy. I accidentally hit 9 instead of 6 when I made the call. And he and I had a 2-hour conversation, had dinner, and I sold him and funded probably 35 different properties.
No way.
I swear on my daughter.
How does that even happen? You hit a wrong number and you're like, "Hey, Mr. Mark, I'm calling about," and he's like, "Oh, this isn't Mark, but you sound interesting. Let's talk for 2." How does that even happen?
Basically, he's like, "I own a bunch of properties. I don't think that I own that one. What's the address one more time?" He's like, "We're on my cell phone." I texted to him. He's like, "Yeah, I don't own that." He's like, "I mean, I sell properties and I own a bunch of them. I mean, like, if you're trying to buy one of mine, I'd love to sell it to you, I guess, but that one's not mine at all." And then it just kind of rolled and rolled and rolled and rolled. He's in his 60s. At the time when I called him, I was 25, 26. I think that he had a son my age or something like that. So we kind of clamored on there. And yeah, now I probably talk to him once every other day.
No
But it
kidding.
really is those kinds of things. Like, if you don't know who you're going to meet when you walk into those networking events. And a lot of people, they're
Right.
like, "Oh, I don't want to put pants on. Is it going to be a waste of time? Is this guy just going to blabber on about nothing?" Like, it's just go. I promise you there's a benefit. If you get one thing and free dinner, it's a way better way to spend the evening.
Right. Yeah, 100%. So one of the things too that I think a lot of people run into is like, especially when they're getting started or even when they're not like a real serious investor. I say not real serious in the sense of like, maybe they're working a W-2 job and at the same time, and it's just like, hey, I'm going to do one deal a year, right?
Yeah.
Which, cool, awesome. It's their long-term, their retirement plan or whatever. But for like people that are like, I'm going to make this my career, my passion or whatever. One of the things that, we find is like people have a hard time sometimes paying to be in the room, right? Which I don't know if you've done this, but like even with me, like I've paid, tens of thousands of dollars for self-development, education, learning outside of college, all of that. But what do you think can you find it in free rooms, accidental cold calls? Like, can you find it there? Is that the norm, or do you think there's some importance to like actually paying to be in rooms with certain people? What do you think there?
Yeah, I think that there's value to both. I mean, there's a million and one free or free networking events that wholesalers put on and lenders put
Right.
on and title companies put on just to get you to be in the room, bump shoulders with them
Lead
and listen to it. So I
gen.
think
Yeah.
exactly, yeah. There's tons of them that are capable of going, but there are plenty of them as well that you can find that cost even $100, just to get into a Facebook group where people are constantly talking about things. And I think that when you're trying to pay for it, I would say aim for paying for more of like an intimate training, like, hey, let you get to know me about what I'm looking to do specifically, and have someone who, like you had said, like is educated on the matter, that has all these numbers flying around in their head, kind of place you in the box that they think is smartest for you, and then you take that and you run.
Versus like a one size fits all type. Hey, here's our program and our method, and whoever
Yeah,
you are. Because realistically,
yeah.
10% of people in a one size fits all are actually going to do anything with it.
No, they're not. And like the biggest time that my heart ever breaks for some of these people that come to me is when they tell me they paid for a Section 8 investment course, where it's like, yeah, I paid this 23-year-old $20,000 to explain to me what cash flow means. He gave me this calculator that is full of either fraudulent information or incorrect information. Because I want to be at $500 a month net cash flow, and then I have to be the guy who has to explain to them that, like, unfortunately, that's not real, and all they're doing is paying 20 grand to watch 6 different pre-recorded videos. Like, yeah, no, I would definitely look for someone that's a little bit more intimate with your coach, because they're going to learn you, you're going to learn them, you're going to be able to bounce things off of each other way easier.
Yeah, 100%. Love that, man. So now, what are some of the pitfalls you see? I know we spoke a little bit before the show, but kind of transitioning a little bit here into like commercial multifamily properties. You see a lot of people that, during COVID times, they, were successful with the BRRRR method, and now they're thinking, oh, well, let me go and do this with, 100 doors at a time versus, a single family unit. Like, tell me what you're seeing going on in that space right now.
Yeah, absolutely. The commercial multi market, it sounds sexy, right? You want to go to the dinner and you want to say, I'm a commercial multifamily investor. I have all of these units and blah, 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 blah. But right now, I would say, and for the foreseeable future as well, commercial multifamily is not the sexy, fun form of investment that it sits at. I mean, just number one, the rates right now, like I can get DSCR rates 30-year fixed with a bank statement product at 7.25% to 7.5%. For a near full doc program, you're seeing lenders, even the commercial, like actual community banks, not just the private funds that I work with, those rates are sitting at 8.75 to 9.5. And some of the prices that these sellers are trying to sell it at, because they way overpaid during COVID because the cost of money was nothing, like it doesn't cash flow, not even a little bit. And those people even further mess up the underwriting because they don't understand that now you're paying for every utility regardless. There is no getting away from it. You have to factor in for vacancy. You have to factor in for additional capital expenditure all the time. You're turning your units every year regardless, because per the U.S. Census data, in buildings that are over 20 units, the rate of people leaving after their 1-year lease is some 92%. So like you're constantly paying to have those units painted and refloored and get the cat pee smell out and everything like that. And when you're dealing with all of that and a 9% interest rate and a price that barely makes it cash flow in the first place, you want more units, just go buy a turnkey portfolio, right? Like don't try to just slam it into the commercial multifamily space, because I don't think that it's really the smart buy right now.
And based on all of that, why do you think that, again, in like a simplified format for somebody that's thinking that, like, what's the real application of what they're in to lose if they get into it too quick and really don't have all their ducks in a row?
Being net negative every month, like it's no longer an investment; it's a money pit. Like I've corrected people's underwriting when they wanted to buy. It was last week. They sent me their spreadsheet to review. It was a 45-unit apartment building in Massillon, Ohio, that they wanted to buy, and just with putting in algorithms and changing some of the metrics that they were using just to match what the market was showing, not even what the actual financials of that building were bringing in, but just what the market average is. It took their net cash flow from $400 a door to negative $280 a door.
Wow. So
Yeah.
did they get saved? Did they get saved in that deal, or what happened there?
Thankfully, they were working out like a due diligence period to run their numbers and everything. It's called a letter of intent in commercial real estate. they were working through their LOI and they were able to kill the deal beforehand unless they can get a significant price reduction.
Wow, that's incredible. So now, if you had to take all of the knowledge and experience that you've got currently, right, and you had to go back to the beginning when you started everything, what would you do different? What would you do the same?
What I would do differently is I would say I would be wary of partnerships because a lot of the times I'd get in with, I'd have one house, and because I wanted to try to save money, I'd get five of my friends to pull a little bit of cash and we'd all go into it. I promise you, I'm not friends with any of those people anymore because it would always become a hairy headache. I would also recommend truly vetting your contractors. Like, I would make sure that you understand what the market pricing is for work to get done, like price per yard on concrete and price per sheet on drywall installed and stuff like that. Because even if the number makes sense to you, right? Like, oh, hey, I budgeted $20,000 for this job to make sense. Oh, my bid came in at $20,000. That's absolutely perfect. But then you see that the contractor is charging you $9,000 for 1,000 square feet worth of drywall. You're like, whoa, like what are you doing to me here, man? So yeah, I would say truly understanding how to manage your contractors and not having too many cooks in the kitchen.
How does somebody figure out how to do that?
I would say just shopping it around, really. Like, I would, if you're going to have a bid done, I would have a bunch of people go and look at your first one. It's going to be the most annoying thing in the entire world, but I would have like 5 different contractors that a couple of them you find personally and a couple of them that you find just organically, like on Facebook or something like that. Have them all bring you the bid and then sit down and analyze it. And over time, with experience, you'll kind of start to understand, like, oh, yeah, no, this makes sense for this square footage and this price for paint and stuff like that.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense because I know one of the things you mentioned on your survey before the show was, finding consistency with contractors. Why do you think they're so inconsistent?
I think I can only speak to the Northeast Ohio market, but I think they start to become inconsistent because they themselves are not very good bookkeepers. And so a lot of the times what they're constantly robbing Peter to pay Paul. They take a deposit from this job to buy materials for your job, but the reason why they're taking a chunk of yours because the last job never sent them their final payment, and then they have to pay their guys and get another job started. That guy hasn't sent their deposit yet, so they're working off of that one. And then they go and they hit a snag on your job because they, for some whatever odd reason, didn't get the funds back paying people or a back due bill that came up. And then they're coming to you and they're asking you for an advance on a labor draw or anything like that. And you, as the investor, you're like, no, we had an agreement that I signed that you get this and I get that. And then they just take off and they get agitated, or, they get sued by somebody else and their company goes down. You have no idea. I'll give you an example of an inconsistent contractor for my last flip that I did in Norton, Ohio, where contractor relationship was absolutely great. He gave me his bid. I paid him on time with his bid. I paid per our agreed upon draw schedules, but he never paid his subcontractors. He wasn't screwing me. He was screwing them. And then by like the 9th or 10th day that I went out there, and it was just like one guy there working, and he was, I don't even know what he was doing. He was just sweeping the floors and patching drywall, basically. I'm like, what are we even doing here? He's like, hey, can you pay, I won't say the contractor's name, can you pay the contractor? Like, I haven't been paid in 6 weeks, and like, I'm living off credit cards. I had to take out a installment loan to get Christmas for my kids, and he's saying you haven't paid him in a month. I'm like, I pulled up my banking app on my phone. I was like, just sent him a wire yesterday. I've sent him a total of 70 grand so far. And then I called the contractor to just let him know kindly, hey, like, your guys are saying that they're not getting paid. Like, I just want to let you, I'm looking out for him because nobody wants that reputation as a GC when your subs are saying they don't pay you. Blocks my number, blocks me on Facebook. His wife sends me a text like, if you're so concerned with what my subs are doing, then F off and blah, 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 blah. She blocks me right afterwards. And then I have to go and source a new contractor to finish up the last 30 grand worth of work. Yeah. And that is, I have done probably over 100 projects in my lifetime between, or probably over 200, honestly, if you want to count what I've helped with clients and then helped on myself or worked with on myself. And that is 80% of what you hear from these guys. They are excuse making machines.
Wow, that's crazy. Man, well, Eli, thanks so much for being here today. We appreciate you coming on and sharing your wisdom and all the things that you've gathered over the years. Now, if anyone wants to learn more about you or what you're working on, where should they go for that?
If they want to go to neo-innovative.com, neo-innovative.com, that's my website. You can look at all of our available off-market properties. You can see the breakdown of our terms for our fix and flip and BRRRR method products, as well as our 30-year fixed. And you can request a quote on a deal you have going on right then and there, or they can call or text me directly at 330-754-8376.
Awesome. Well, what you don't know is you just shared your cell phone on a show that has 17 million weekly listeners. So I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Got him.
I was going to say I'm happy for that. No, please.
You're like,
yeah, so.
Wait a second. All right. Well, thanks for joining us for today's episode, y'all. Make sure to subscribe and learn more about InvestorFuel by going to www.investorfuel.com. And we will see you on the next episode. Until next time.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.